I'm streaming live from the studio. I don't know, is it working? Okay. Um, yeah, I'm just waiting until. Cool. Am I live yet, or? Okay, 4 viewers. So I'm gonna do a quick Q&A in my studio. I'm gonna show you a little bit what I'm using and how I make my music. And I want to do a Q&A before and after. I'm going to show you something in Ableton. So if you have any questions, just tell me. Let me see. Where can I see the comments? Oh, okay. Now I can see the comments, so I can react to it. Let me hear some new drop, please. Maybe. But I'm gonna show you my reboot of Cell. I'm gonna show you how I made it and the sounds that I used. So if you have any questions about that, just let me know. Where we can send demos. I don't know if you're asking it to me or Revealed, because my promo mail is promo@juliancalor.com, and Revealed's, I think they have a demo drop. Will you show how you mix this track from the beginning? Yeah, okay, that's a good one. Usually I'm mixing when I make the drums and the synths already, and at the end the mix is almost finished, so I don't have to work that long on it. But there's always room for improvement, so that's little bit my problem. But I can show you the project file and the effects that I'm using to mix the track. You use FL or Logic? Neither of them. I use Ableton Live now for, I think, 5 years. Is this Hardwell Studio? No, it's my studio. But the funny thing is, it's made by the same studio maker, the same designer. So that's maybe where you can recognize it from. Hey Julian, how you made the sub present in the mix? Well, I can show you how I treat my bass and my lower synths as well. So, and for different genres, it depends on what kind of style you make, how you process the sub bass. Tour around Latin America. I really want to. It's not yet. I can't say that I'm touring there, but I really want to. That's all I can say. Is it easy with Ableton to remix and produce? Well, for me, it's a really fast program. Like the ideas that you have in your head are, I can edit fast everything in Ableton, and yeah, I can show you the workflow. Everything is done in the playlist, and the samplers and the synthesizers are really easy to use. And that's one of the main reasons why I use Ableton, the workflow. Um, Big room versus progressive, please answer me. I don't know. There are some great big room tracks and there are some great progressive tracks. I don't prefer any style above another style or genre. Silent or Spire? I use Silent more than Spire, but I use Silent for layering. Oh, I don't use Silent to make my own sounds. I use Massive to make my own sounds, and I use Silent to layer stuff, some presets. Any tips for sound designing? Try resampling. It's really cool. Just make a sound, render it, export it or whatever, and put it in your program and put it in a MIDI processor or a sampler, and you can get some really cool sounding effects. How do you get signed to a label? Just make a lot of music, practice really hard, and when you think the time is ready, send it to some labels, and if you don't get an answer, just work harder on your music and then try again. It's all about persistence. Your master chain, yeah, I can show you my master chain in a minute. What do you think about the current EDM scene and all the different genres? I think it's really cool right now that there are so many different genres, and that all the artists that I knew are making different stuff, because it's really refreshing and I like that a lot. What do you think about hardstyle? I think it's a cool genre. I think the sound design is next level with hardstyle, and I used to listen to a lot of Headhunters when I was young. In 2006, yes, 11 years ago. Wow, sick. Hey bro, can you show the bass line and the processing on it for Cell Trap Reboot? Yes, I will, in a minute. How did you start out? I started out using FL Studio, Fruity Loops. I watched a lot of YouTube videos on how to make basic beats, and from there on I used different DAWs like Cubase, Logic. I used Logic for school actually for 1 year, and after that I started using Ableton, and that's for me the best workstation. But it doesn't really matter which DAW you use. It depends on how you use it. What do you think? When are you coming back to Germany? I hope very soon. how do you get the motivation to start working on a new song when it's hard to find ideas and motivations? That's still an issue for me. There are some days that I have no motivation or inspiration at all, quite honestly. But what I do then is the technical stuff. So just try to process some kicks or some samples or synths, whatever. Just doing stuff that don't requires inspiration or creativity. And in that way, that often leads to creativity. So that's cool. Um, who's the best hustler in Revealed and who is very lazy? I don't really know. What's that kind of? I don't know what is it? The best hustler and who's very lazy? I don't know. Sorry. Um, okay, I'm gonna show you my project file for my trap reboot, my Cell 2017 trap reboot, and yeah, just. So this is the project file. Um, as you can see, I'm using Ableton Live, and it has a black skin because I like to work at. Oh, it's on. I think I had a little bit of internet connection problem, but it's on again. So I'm gonna show you the project. I'm gonna show you the drop first, and here it is. So yeah, I'm hearing myself double. That was the project file. If you have any questions about that, just ask me. It's lagging a little bit because of CPU problems, but I hope you don't mind. Yeah, wait a second. I'm gonna show you how I made the sounds, the most recognizable sounds in the drop. You can just check it out. So I think one of the most recognizable sounds is this one. Oh. And this is just massive, a really simple saw wave in massive, and but the tricky part is I used the standard arpeggiator from Ableton to give it that cell phone, telephone ring that it had, because without this effect it sounds like this. It sounds like shit, and with it sounds like that. It's just a very fast arpeggiator switching octaves. So if you set it very slow, like 1/8, it sounds like this, and 1/16, it sounds like this, and you get it. And it was like this. And as you can hear, there's an amp on it and some EQing to make it a little bit brighter. I think I see reverb here, but I use some sides. No sides. Some automation on the reverb, but I really don't know why. I forgot it, because this is actually the project file for Cell, but when I rebooted it, I used the same project file, and so the original project file was like 2 years old, and I forgot how I did a lot of things. So yeah, that's sad. Okay, let's go to the main melody. This is the first thing you hear when you listen to the trap reboot. Oh. So the main sound is just a silent preset. It's just a very basic plug. Yeah, it's a preset Vandalism lead free, but I processed it so it sounds really short, and with some reverb processing on it, automation on the reverb. I can show it here. It's just a little bit automation here. And I layered this sound with this sound. And the second sound is a little sound that I made with Massive, and its purpose is to give the melody a little bit of a click. It makes the sound a little bit more interesting, and when you combine it, it sounds like this. Okay, and melody-wise, this is a thing that I really was into like 2 years ago. Just begin with a melody with not too much space between the notes, not too many intervals, and after 2 times of playing that melody, I introduced the same melody but with larger intervals, if you get what I'm saying. And so that's one thing that I did with the melody, and the other thing what I did to make it more interesting is when I played the plain melody, I used one note, just the undertone of the whole track, the under key, and when the melody starts getting some life, starts getting larger intervals, I used the chord progression. So the bass is walking with the melody, and that gives it a really cool cool effect, and I think it's bringing the melody really to life. So okay. So what I was saying, just listen to the bass, and the bass, yeah, the bass breathes life into the melody, and that's what I really like. So that's one little trick that I used. So what I used for the trap reboot, I used some extra synths. This is called worm synth, if you can see it. Yeah, here. And it goes like this. That's a patch that I made with Massive. It's also really simple sine waves, but with a lot of automation on the cutoff and some other stuff. I think this is like one of the most basic synths that you can do with Massive. It just has one oscillator only. So and on top of that, I created a creepy synth. I really like to use this kind of synths to give a whole other atmosphere to the track. You can listen to it here. Wait. So yeah, that gives it a really cool atmosphere, and I really like the the reverb on it is really, it's a really big sound. Really big. It's really energetic, I think. And yeah, I also made it with massive. It's just a saw wave. And one of the tricks that I used is I used a lot of portamento time to give the, to glide in between the notes. So if you're using, oh wait, so I can show it here. So you can, if you use that in combination with the large amount of reverb and the white noise, you can get this kind of cool sounds. And you just have to leave the melody very simple. And if you do that on top of the chords, you can get these kinds of effects. So now we're going to the build-up, and the build-up, yeah, it's very simple, just rising sounds, all rising sounds, and some snares, trap kind of snares, and and a kick here to make it a little bit more aggressive. And I introduced a new hook in the build-up. It sounds like this. And I layered it with this sound. And as you can see, it's a chopped up a cappella, but used as like a synth shot, but to give it a little bit more of an edge with the original sound here. So yeah, that gives it a little bit more dimension. I thought the thing that I wanted to do with this remix, I wanted to create the same feeling as 2 years ago with the original version of Cell. So the same kind of chords, the same atmosphere, and by adding the new kind of melodies on top of it at the build-up, I think it adds to the same kind of atmosphere as Cell had 2 years ago. So if you have any new questions about it, just ask me. Oh yeah, some people asked about how I did the bass on the track. So this bass is obviously very different than the original bass from Cell. The original bass was just a kick drum and a sine wave underneath it playing the main bass lines with a lot of sidechain compression like a lot of other progressive house tracks have. But for this one I wanted to make like the trappy kind of bass. So I used a kick, I put the kick in the sampler, put some EQing on it, 2 saturators, but that's not a rule, you can do it like how you want it. It sounded cool to me. Another utility, that's just a volume controller, and here is a EQ, but this EQ I only use this one to automate the low frequency of the kick when it's going into the drop. When it's going into the build-up, you can see it here. It's just a trick to make it a little bit thinner just before the drop. So yeah, you have the kick here, and in the same sampler as the kick I used a ghost channel, and the ghost channel is just triggering all the bass sounds and all the mid sounds to just duck when just play lower volume when the kick hits. And actually I used it on the bass, and this bass is just a main Ableton synth. It's called Hip Hop Sub Bass, and it's a very basic synth. How do we do this? I don't know if my microphone picks it up, but yeah, it's just a really low bass. And the cool thing is you can adjust a lot of things: overtone, distortion, tone, release, glide, volume, and that kind of stuff. And that works really cool if you want to make that trappy kind of bass. And the thing here is the bass is the bass doesn't play exactly together with the kick, I think. But that doesn't matter because there is sidechain on the bass, so it looks like, or it sounds like, the bass is just one thing with the kick. Right? So then you add the snare. Another snare to make it a little bit wider. And this is a thing that I really like to use in all my tracks right now. Breaking glass sound on top of the snares to give it a little bit of a unique edge. I don't know if you can hear that in the original in the original track, but for me it's a kind of cool effect to have on it. And what also gives a more of a progressive feel to a trap track is putting crashes on top of the kicks, and that sounds like this. And there's also a lot of side chaining on the crashes. And what do we have here? I don't exactly know what this is, but I think it's a layer for the snares. Yes, it's a layer. And here's another layer. Oh. And some white noise, of course, to make an impact on the drop. See, the funny thing is, although it's called a trap song, it has a lot of elements of a progressive house song, and that's of course because it is a remix of a progressive house song. But I still use a lot of techniques that I would use when making progressive house. And here you have the chords. So yeah, same thing what I just said. It's really a kind of a progressive house thing. And you know, just using the chords in the drop already, and here is a little bit of a fat bass. And I really like to keep the bass as simple as possible. So the saw wave is just the original saw wave, and nothing is edited to it. So it has a very strong character, and it works very well with these chords. Oh. So that's that, and this is the main synth. That's just massive, and this is another massive on top of it. I think it's an octave layer, and the third layer is, what is it? It's silent, and I use that to make it a lot thicker. That's like the super saw, the original super saw. What the fuck? So yeah, that's the first part of the drop, and then the second part of the drop has another cool synth. And that's kind of a Daft Punk kind of a synth. It's actually a preset called Daft Talk, and I adjusted it and I edited it, tweaked it until it was perfect for the track. And the funny thing, you have a function to let it talk. So it really sounds like a vocoder actually, but it isn't a vocoder, it's just a synth with a phaser and the characteristics of a human sound. And I really like that. Especially when the second part of the second part of the drop begins, and when the melody goes an octave higher, it gives a really cool effect to that sound. I use a lot of automation on the pitch and volume, as I do with almost all my tracks. If you hear my tracks Typhoon and Cell Atlas, I use it in all my tracks. I think a lot of producers use it. And underneath of that I used a future bass kind of synth for the chords. It's also really simple, but it's really about the volume LFO. The LFO is assigned to the volume of Massive, and that gives it that future bass kind of sound. And just for almost all of my other Massive patches, it has just one oscillator, and it's a saw wave. So there's no big secrets behind that. So I think there you have the most interesting things about this whole song, and the last thing you have is the second break, and the second break is just the same chords with some festival sounds, some clapping, and some background sounds, some 3D landscaping. And as you can see, the melody that is introduced in the first build-up is used in the second break 3 times, and gets more interesting here. So let me show you that. Sorry for the lagging CPU problems here, as you can see. Oh, it's not that bad. But yeah, that's the second break, and then the build-up comes, and you have the second drop. So that is my Cell reboot. Yeah. So what I said before, what I was trying to do is to have the same feeling as the original version of Cell, but give it a new edge, give it some new influences. I really like trap nowadays, and I really love future bass. So I really want to incorporate that kind of genres into Cell. And I was really surprised to see that it fits so well with the different tempos and the different rhythms. So if you have some more questions, just let me know. You use leads from Restore and Make Me Feel. Yeah, that's true. I actually use the same synthesizers as I used in Restore for the Cell reboot. How do you get a good mix down? It's all about sound selection. So when you start selecting your drums, making your synths, just make sure they are sounding good already, so the mixdown will be much easier. That's a common mistake a lot of producers make, and what I did as well a few years ago is um, to to trust too much or rely too much on the mixdown. So choosing like shitty sounds and shitty drums, and within the back of my head thinking, oh, with mixing or mastering, it's all getting okay, but that's not the case. It actually works very good if you start with good sounds already. What is your way to finish the track? Um, Yeah, that's a difficult one because I'm kind of a perfectionist and I want to make the track sound as good as possible. But when you're having deadlines or if you want to make more music, it's good to sometimes just let it go and let it for what it is. You know, just let the track be finished when there's no things to add to the track. For me, it's still very difficult, but yeah, that's part of being an artist, I guess. How do you EQ your leads? Usually, I'm low cutting it, depending on what kind of lead, what kind of um, where the melody fits in the equalizer, or where the melody fits in your spectrum. But mostly low cut until 200k. Can you give any tips on networking? Um, yeah, I can give a few. Just go to all the events like ADE and Dance Fair, and just give your demos to all the A&Rs and DJs. That's what I did a few years ago. And another thing is use Twitter often and just try and follow your favorite DJs, and maybe you can get a follow back, or you can DM them with your tracks. But um, if you're doing that, make sure your music is good already, because otherwise you won't get a reply. Any tips for layering of synths? I don't get that energy in my tracks. Um, I think one of the most important things that I learned about layering is that you don't need to layer too much, because then you get a sound. Then you almost get white noise. Then it's too noisy. I mostly use 3 layers, 4 layers maximum, and sometimes just two. I try to make one sound as full and good as possible, and when that's not working, then I'm layering it with silent or massive at a really low volume to make it a little bit more fat or something. How do you get a great kick and bass? Kick, just sample it or borrow some kicks from other good producers. And bass, keep it simple. Sound waves often do the trick, and you can layer bass also. So just use a sine wave for a sub and uh, a saw with a high pass, no low pass filter on it to give it a little bit more fatness. So I think that's one thing. How did you make the telephone sound in the drops? The telephone sounds are just saw waves with arpeggiators on it that go really fast. What's your favorite skill? I don't really know because I'm not really musically trained. But I really like to switch between minor and major chords. Maybe you can hear it in a lot of my tracks. I think I used it in Cell, and Typhoon I also used it. Just listen to my chord progressions in Typhoon and listen to the last chord. You can see there is a switch between the type of chords that I used, major and minor. Where do you find your pack of WAV? I don't know. I think you're referring to samples. I use a lot of Vengeance and Muteki samples, and I really like the new Cymatic stuff. They have really cool sounds. But most of the time, I'm editing a lot of my samples to make them unrecognizable and to give them my own style. What do you think about Hardwell's Ultra set? It was really good. I really liked it. I stayed up until late to watch it and it was really, really awesome. A lot of energy. So I see. I think I'm gonna. Uh, I see a lot of questions about how I made the telephone sound, and I think I'm going to explain it in. Wait, no, I'm gonna explain it right now. I think a lot of people are asking about it, and I want to make sure you understand it. So you have actually two telephone sounds. The first one is this one, and I showed it at the beginning of this stream, and I have some other sounds right here, I think. Yeah, here. I think a lot of people ask me about this sound, and I think it's the same sound as the sound in the beginning. Yeah, oh no, it's massive. You can see the settings over here. Yeah, just like I said, I made this 2 years ago, so I don't really know what I did back then. But it looks very simple. Just two oscillators, or no, three oscillators with saw waves, some changing in octaves to make it a little bit more unison or detuned, some dimension expander to make it bigger, some chorus over here, and of course the fast arpeggiator and some effects on it, some reverb, OTT. OTT is one of the best tools to make your leads and synths sound bigger. Just use any compression and find the OTT function. OTT means over the top, and it's compressing over the top, so that's always good for EDM. Some sidechaining over here, some EQing. So yeah, the telephone sound. If you have any more questions, just ask them now. I think I'm going to do this 10 more minutes and I'm gonna wrap it up. So if you have any more questions about my new releases, my new sound or my old sound or whatever you want to ask, just ask it to me and I will give you an answer, I hope. Can you do some Bollywood? By that you mean Bollywood sounds or using Bollywood sounds in my music? That's a cool idea. Maybe I'm gonna do that. Can I get bigger without producing, just as a DJ? I don't know. Maybe if you're like really good at marketing or really good at DJing and have a lot of connections. But for me, it was a very different story. I began producing, and DJing came later. So I'm not like the right person to ask that question. Sorry. Um, do you mix your tracks on headphones or monitors? I do on both. I use the Genelec monitors over here. I think they are 5-inch Genelec monitors. They're really cool and really clear sound. But I also use a subwoofer with it. And I have over here these are my headphones. It's the Bear Dynamic DT880 Pro, and these are really cool. These have like very clear sound, not a lot of bass, very bright high end, and they're half open, and I really like that because there's not much pressure on your ears, so you can produce like for a very long time, and I really like that. Um, is there any point to make an effort to learn Ableton Live if it's better than other DAW like Logic? I wouldn't say it's better, but it depends on what kind of person you are. If you really like the technical stuff and like to have it sound good or from the beginning and want a nice looking workstation, then maybe Logic is better. But if you're like want to really experiment with different kind of samples and resampling, I think Ableton is very cool for that. And Ableton also has, in my opinion, the best automation functions. FL Studio has also some good automation functions, but Ableton is really has a good flow with automation. What's your mastering process? Well, um, I don't use a master chain in the first few hours when making a track because in first few hours I wanted to make my track like mixed out volume wise and leveling wise, and then I put the limiter on it and some EQing and some OTT compression, just a little bit, and just a little bit compression, and I try to A/B it, just switch it on and off, and um, just listen how it sounds with the master chain. But I think one of the most important rules is not let the master chain be the main focus. It's just to cut out the edges and to make it a little bit less dynamic, because EDM is not a genre that has a lot of dynamics in between the drums and the synths. Because if you play your tracks live, you want to have it mixed well with all the other tracks, and because all the other tracks are like mixed kind of in the same way, you also want to make your track like that, and that means for EDM that you don't have too much dynamics in it, because that can sound really weird on the dance floor. Is audio interface necessary if you're an EDM producer? Does it improve sound quality? Well, I only use I only need my audio interface for my speakers and just to have an audio knob, a volume knob, and to record vocals or guitar or my MIDI instruments. But I wouldn't say it improves. It improves the sound quality, but a lot of people can't hear it, and it's not necessary to make a better mix. I think making a better mix has to do with your ears. I think that's the most important thing for sound improvement. Is it hard to make EDM music? Yeah, I think it actually is. Yeah, I think there are a lot of things uh, to look after when you're making tracks, and it's not as easy as a lot of people think, and it takes some practice to make it, but it's one of the most fun things to do, in my opinion. Tips on getting your song heard by big labels and getting signed by them. The first tip is to make your song as good as possible. Make sure you send it to some friends or some DJ friends to get some feedback on it, to make sure that you're not the only one that's liking your track. And then you can just use a SoundCloud link with the download function, send it to your to the A&Rs that you know, or on Twitter, or all the demo mails. Just keep on pushing, and if they don't respond, that usually is because of that they don't like your track, I think, because all the A&Rs that I know, at least, they listen to all the tracks. So I think it's simple as that, to make the best music possible, and just be persistent about it and keep on going every day to make it better. How long did it take you to make your own sounds in Massive? Well, when I started producing, I started using Massive from the beginning, so I'm really used to it. And there are a lot of producers now using Serum, and that's like the new Massive, I heard. But I'm so used to Massive that I can't use Serum right now because I'm so used to it. So, 8 minutes left. Wait, some questions. A lot of questions are the same. It's a lot about mastering, and I think I haven't that much time left to explain my mastering process. So I think I'm going to explain it on my Snapchat or my Instagram stories, and to have a clearer view about how I do it. So and just ask me which kind of tracks you want to see the master chain of. How much time did you spend in this track? Meaning the Cell 2017 reboot. I think I made it in 2 days, I think. Less than 2 days. Because Cell was already finished, of course. It's 2 years old. And the only thing that I have to do is make some drums for it, and make some variations for it. And the funny thing is, the Ultra live stream guys, they asked me to make a new version of Cell, because Cell is 2 years in a row now the intro song for the Ultra live streams, and so that was the reason why I started to make the edit, and then after that I thought, why not make a full track of it, and send it to revealed guys. And they liked it. They sent it to Hardwell. He liked it, and it's really cool to see that they are supporting different kinds of genres now. I think that's really cool that they're really open-minded, and yeah, it's also cool that it's released on the same day as the first Ultra live stream. That's really cool to me. It's a big honor. Did you study something related to music production? I actually went to the HKU. It's a music and technology school, but after 1 year I dropped out. But I learned a lot though. I learned about classical music and how to write down music, and how to be creative, and what kind of mindset do you need to have to keep staying creative. But yeah, then my career as a DJ and producer started, so I thought that's too much work, and so I dropped out from school. But I would not recommend it to you guys. Stay in school, guys. When is the follow-up of Evolve coming? I don't know. I don't know what you mean by a follow-up. Do you mean like a new album, or a new track that sounds like Evolve, or... I don't know. Maybe I have a question for you guys. Do you want me to make other trap or future bass or indie kind of reboots of older tracks of me? Because I think it's very cool to take the old melodies and put it in a new, new jacket. New jacket, is that a good word for it? New genre. Um, who are some guys to look out for in the EDM scene right now? Um, that's a good question. What I do is I look a lot of at a lot of producers in SoundCloud right now. SoundCloud has some really cool, underrated, unheard talent. Like, just go to your favorite artist, see what they are liking, and then see what the other artists are liking, and you can just go down the rabbit hole of SoundCloud and explore a lot of different kind of crazy genres. And I really like to do that. I think that's cool to do if you want to find new artists. They are not necessarily the biggest artists. They are very niche and underground, but I really like that. Um, what advice would you give yourself if you could go in the past where you were starting to produce? I think it would be collaborate more with other artists because you can learn a lot through collaborating. Because everyone has his different flows and his different views on music. Uh, Somebody asks, what gets you inspired to make music? Well, there's a lot of things that inspire me to make music. It's like listening to all the ultra live sets, listening to all the new music that a lot of DJs are playing. Um, Also, watching movies is getting me a lot of inspiration. Yeah, just making sounds, just sampling sounds, just trying to recreate a song. There are a lot of different ways to get inspiration and to make new music. What music do you listen to for inspiration? At the moment, I'm really into like melodic trap and future bass kind of guys, like San Holo. Nightmare is a really cool artist, but also all the very underrated SoundCloud guys. What I said before, those are really cool. Yeah. Say something to people who says that Big Room is dead. The only thing I want to say, Big Room isn't dead. Big Room isn't dead. If you want the evidence, just look at all the ultra live sets and you can see Big Room isn't dead. And a lot of people asking me about why I stopped making big room or progressive house. I didn't stop completely, but I just wanted to make some new stuff and some new sounds. And I started off as a hip hop producer, so implementing those kind of rhythms and BPMs to my newer stuff makes it trap or future bass. I can't do anything about it. It's just my musical preference, right? What's the best song that you have ever made? I don't know, but I have two or three favorites. I think it's in no particular order. It's Evolve, um, the main track of my album. Sorcerer, that's another track of my album. It's got a really cool bass line, and a new track from my Evolve project, Desperation. It's a really crazy, cinematic, experimental track, and you should listen to it. Yeah, I think those are the three favorite tracks of me. What do you think of Alenium? I think I heard some tracks of him. It's really cool. It's Monster Cat, right? I think it's cool. What do you think of Hardwell's Ultra set? Just like I said before, it was straight fire. It was a really cool set. a lot of energy. But how did you get WTA? I don't know what it is. So yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up right now. If you have some other questions, just leave them at my Snapchat, Instagram, or Instagram stories. And like I said before, I think I'm going to do I'm going to explain some of my mastering and production stuff on my Snapchat and Instagram stories. So yeah, so you can watch that and have a good night.